Anna. Nice to see you. All right, let's just settle. And if you are sitting at a desk and your feet are down on the ground, try not to have your ankles crossed or your legs crossed. Other than that, if you're sitting in the regular meditation posture, you want to be comfortable. So if you are tight in the knees and the hips, you can just have something supporting your knees. And definitely put something underneath your sit bones and raise yourself up slightly. This helps with the knees. It also helps with the back. And we want our pelvic bowl to be upright. Welcome, Sergio. And Bobby, hi. Hands are in the meditation mudra, the right hand nestled in the left with the thumbs touching. And let's just imagine your spine is a string of pearls of light stretching from the base all the way up through the crown of the head. And you can imagine someone is up there very gently lengthening your spine behind you, above you. And while this is happening, just imagine your shoulders are over the hips, and if you can, just very gently imagine your ears going up and gliding back to align with your shoulders. Now imagine the crown of your head reaching for the ceiling. Your head is slightly tipped forward. Welcome, Victor. And the eyes looking along the length of the nose, tip of the tongue and the roof of the mouth, and relax the jaw. Let's bring our awareness to the crown of the head and relax the scalp and the forehead and the eyes, and you can bring your mind to the back of the eye socket and just relax that area there. Relax the nose, the cheeks, the area around the mouth. And then bring your mind, your awareness, to the back of your head, around about the place where the occipital bone is, the base of the skull. Just try and release any tension in that area. And as you do, you might notice your jaw relaxing. Now just imagine you have a warm torch, maybe a yellow light, shining into your ear. And imagine that as you shine that light into your ear, it relaxes the eardrum. So you're right at the back of the tongue, the jaw, this all relaxes. Now release any tension in the neck and the shoulders, and just allow your shoulder blades to drop down. And try and bring some awareness to that area in between the shoulder blades, the upper thoracic. And relax your throat, chest, belly, and your limbs, hands, fingers, feet, and toes. And let's just bring our mind to the breath. Notice the sensation of the air as you're inhaling. It's slightly cooler than the air you're exhaling. And you may feel a sensation of the air as you're breathing in and out, flowing in either at the tip of the nose or the base of the nose, depending on the shape of your nose and depending on the training you may have had previously. Sometimes some traditions say direct you to notice sensations in different parts of the nostril. If there are any sounds in your environment, maybe someone's moving around your home, pets, birds outside, traffic, try not to have the mind be distracted by these sounds. Just allow the sounds to be there. And then notice your thoughts as they arise, abide, and fall. And try not to engage with them or follow a story, get wrapped up in a story. Just allow the thoughts to flow. Now let's bring to mind all the people of our life, whether they're your children, your parents, your spouses, your partners, your dear friends, your beloveds. This is our friend group. And then the next group is the ones we don't like very much. They don't like us. And then there's our strangers, the people that we're generally fairly indifferent to. And the thing that I've been thinking about lately is that at any time, these people can change places, the friend, the enemy, and the stranger. So if you do have good, kind relationships in your life, I always feel it's so important to never take those people for granted, because it could change. And all these three groups of people, they really do deserve our equal concern, even though it may not come naturally for the stranger and the ones we don't like, as it does for the ones we love. But just think of the idea of expanding your mind to include the people you don't like and the stranger. And the reason for this is because, just like you, everybody wants to be happy and nobody wants to suffer. And just like you, they all have this unbelievable capacity for the enlightened mind. With a stranger, we don't care, really. With the person we don't like, we only see bad qualities or qualities that create aversion in the mind. Of course, for our loved ones, we think they have immeasurable capacity and potential. So we are a little biased. So in this idea of trying to develop equanimity, we bring in something that's a little bit not usual for the mind, and that is to try and think differently about the ones we don't like and the strangers, the ones we're indifferent to. So just think we'll do this meditation on the mind this morning for the benefit of all the people of our life. And we might extend our thoughts to the people in Ukraine, people who are still experiencing and suffering from COVID, and the people in Russia. So as we move into our 9-round breathing, I would encourage you to equalize the breath. So as you're inhaling, you can inhale for 4. So for example, you can count it down 4, 3, 2, 1, and pause, and then exhale 4, 3, 2, 1. So when you first of all inhale with a 9-round breathing, breathe in. This is the way Lama Yeshe taught it. Breathe in through your right nostril, blissful, radiant white light. And if you feel, you can count to 4, 3, or 5. Pause at the top of the breath. And then breathe out through the left nostril all your attachment energy. And this is also this sense of anxiety, grasping, unhealthy desire, feeling unworthy, not feeling like you're enough. And you breathe this out as thick black yucky smoke. And you can also do that for the same count that as you inhaled. So if it's 4, you can breathe out for 4. And you imagine that all this attachment energy disappears into space. Do that 3 times. Then breathe in through the left nostril, blissful, radiant white light, pausing at the top of the breath. And then breathe out through the right, all your anger. And this is also depression, which is pretty much internalized anger, bitterness and grudges, jealousy, disappointments. And you breathe this out as thick black yucky smoke, disappears into space. You do that 3 times. Then breathe in through both nostrils, blissful, radiant white light. Welcome, Nina. Pausing at the top of the breath, and then breathe out all your ignorance, not knowing the way things truly exist. So in this tradition, it's about not really understanding emptiness. It's also about not really understanding the way karma works or the way karma exists. We do that 3 times. Okay, so let's just do this in our own time. 3 sets of 3. So just as you're finishing up, bring the mind back to the breath and just feel. And just notice, is there a difference between now, how you're feeling now, and when you started? And this just very short, 15, 20 minutes. It's all it takes to calm the mind. So now, you probably have already been doing this, but just start to notice the activity in your mind, the flow of thoughts, emotions, sensations, any judgments you might be having, any projections or expectations. And just watch these mental events and try not to get involved in them without criticism or attraction or rejection. So just try and watch what's going on like a scientific observer in a fairly neutral fashion. And imagine you have no investment in the objects of your observation. So just notice this process. Now, after a little while, you can catch one of these moments, and from that point, begin to journey backwards in time, from one mental event to the previous one. Now briefly scan your mental experiences, traveling backwards through the last hour. Maybe you had a cup of tea or hot water or coffee when you woke up. And can you take yourself back to the moment you awoke? And is there a relationship between one moment and the previous one, or the one before that? Can you remember your dreams from last night? Go back to the night before. To the thoughts that you had as you were falling asleep. Are there connections, relationships between these mental events? Now take your mind back to yesterday. What were you doing yesterday? Last week? Last month, March? And last year? So try not to engage with the story as it's unfolding. Simply watch no involvement, without judgment. We're just looking for connections, mental moments. Now I'll go back a little further. When we are all in lockdown, 2020, just watching the events of that year. Then go back perhaps to when you were a bit younger. Your childhood. Your baby time. Do you remember your birth? If you can go back to your birth, what happens then? In the womb, at the moment of conception. Try to see these possibilities. Does the flow cease? Does it continue? So just relax and allow each mental event to arise in its own time. Just observe the process at work. And when you've gone back as far as possible, just gently bring your mind to the present moment. Again, watching its activity, observing these arising mental events without engagement, criticism, attraction, aversion. Just looking for connections. Now imagine your mind flowing out before you, one thought, and then the next into the future. And imagine this process. And let your imagination go. What are the possibilities for the future? Your mind flowing out to the rest of the day, into tomorrow, into next week, next month, next year, and so on until the time of your death. And at this point, consider what your possibilities might be. Does the flow cease? Does it continue? Does it change? What happens now? What are the possibilities? So now bring your mind very gently back to the present moment. Bring the mind back to the breath. Feel the weight of your sit bones on your cushion, hands on your knees or in your lap, and just feel. So let's just bring to mind the motivation we established at the beginning of the meditation and just dedicate any understanding, no matter how small, no matter how inspired, the spiritual energy, any creative potential you have generated doing this meditation, to the realizations of your goals, to taking the next step on your spiritual journey, for your own sake and for the sake of all the people of your life. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful day. Thank you for you people who are in another country for joining us. I think
Thank
that's
you, Venerable.
Capucine and Anna.
Thank you,